We go now to the former mayor of Chicago and the former U.S. ambassador to Japan, Rahm Emanuel. Welcome to Face the Nation, Ambassador.
Thanks, Margaret.
I have so much to get to with you, but I know you worked with Senator Lindsey Graham for a time here in Washington. Yeah. You weren't exactly on the same page politically, but I wonder your thoughts on his passing.
Good observation. No, look, you lost a patriot. We disagreed, but we weren't disagreeable about it. There were three things we worked on. One, he represented John McCain. I represented then Senator Obama on the debate rules. Two, when we had a meeting during the transition, Senator McCain, Lindsey, the president-elect, myself, we agreed to work on a national service bill, which we actually got done in spring '09, that doubled the size for AmeriCorps and for the Peace Corps. And then third, our final, which was really the most difficult, but we got to an agreement, which was to close Guantanamo. It was Senator Levin, Lindsey, myself, representing administration. We got to a final issue. The Attorney General was against it, which was the trial of the Sheik, which he wanted civilian. Lindsey said it had to be military court to get the 15 votes. That's not what happened, and so therefore, and it was one political analysis, which I thought was accurate, versus a legal analysis, which was maybe by the law, but wasn't going to happen. And so we worked at my desk as the chief of staff, I don't know, kind of the dozen meetings between Carl Levin, myself, and the senator that would actually have closed Guantanamo, moved all the prisoners out, and brought that chapter to America to end. Now, did we see everything 100%? No. Did we find compromise? Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Ambassador, we need to take a break and finish our conversation about the significant speech you just gave in Israel a few days ago, but we're going to do that in a minute. I hope everyone will stay with us. We will be right back. Welcome back to Face the Nation. We continue our conversation now with Ambassador Rahm Emanuel. Ambassador, you are just back from a trip overseas. Your family, I know, has deep ties to Israel. You worked during the Clinton administration, the Obama administration on important Mideast issues. In this speech you just delivered, you were very critical of Palestinian Authority's leadership failures. You faulted Arab states for not doing more in a credible way for the Palestinian people. And then you took aim at Prime Minister Netanyahu, saying he has led his country into a dead end. What do you hope you accomplished?
Well, it was not just a criticism. All those are clear, and I stated that. I also said the United States made mistakes in the past. But I laid out a plan that gets out of Israel being a pariah. It's went from a technological prowess to a territorial pariah. And for a small nation, that's not survivable. In 22 years, it will be 100 years old. You cannot survive like this. So one, not a two-state solution, a 23-state solution, taking the Arab League's offer to recognize the state of Israel, all 21 nations, if they come to an agreement on security for the state of Israel, which is essential, and Palestinian sovereignty. That's Israel's best day and Iran's worst day. Second, building off the India, Mideast, European economic corridor, which would be the most important trade route, and put Israel's technological prowess at the center, break into the economic integration that's happening. So that was a plan. Others can offer theirs, but to me it addresses the single most important thing for the future of this alliance, that you cannot reduce your national security apparatus with military power, economic statecraft, political persuasion, and cultural attraction. Reduce three of them and let them atrophy, and your entire national security apparatus is only military power. And that's an example of how Israel has a breakout. That is good for alliance. The United States is strong with NATO. You can see that in public opinion. United States public opinion is also strong with our Asian allies. This is the only ally that is in the low 20s in support. That is not a sustainable path for an alliance that's essential for Israel, America, security.
You said the current Israeli government, the Netanyahu government, views every security challenge as a nail and Israel's military as a hammer. That sounded very similar, to me at least, to this. Listen.
You're a country of 9 million people. You can't just kill your way out of solving every single national security problem that you have.
I imagine there aren't a lot of points of agreement between you and the Vice President, J.D. Vance, but do you see this on the right and left as a major shift in policy here for the United States that does not turn around?
So two things, Margaret. in 2009, when I challenged, as Chief of Staff for President Obama, I challenged the Prime Minister directly. I didn't need this war. Directly, that what you're doing on housing in the West Bank will lead to perpetual conflict and isolation. If there was a prediction I wanted to be wrong on, that was it. So telling somebody the truth, even when it's painful, that's not new to me. I was also in the room with President Obama when we funded and started funding the Iron Dome that has protected thousands of Israeli civilians. I believe funding the Iron Dome is right for America's strategy, right for Israel. I think making sure that you're not having undermining the West Bank or the possibility of a two-state solution, a 23-state solution, is also in Israel's security interest. And I want to get back to those go hand in hand. And so my view is, take Syria, for example. There's no more Assad. You have a head of Syria that is the transitway to Hezbollah from Iran of all their weapons. The Syrian head of state has said that Iran is a problem and that Israel and he should have a security agreement. Nobody's called. I said, I'll pay for the phone call charges. Pick up the phone and come to a security agreement where your northern part, Jordan is secure on the east, Egypt is secure on the south, Syria, you would actually have a security agreement. That breaks out. Diplomacy, political strategy, is dormant as a part of Israel's national security, and that, therefore, harms the United States. My number one goal, what advances America's interest? This alliance, if they don't change, the status quo today is unsustainable. I did it in the interest of America, the alliance with an ally that is isolated politically at home and abroad.
No, and to your point, I was in Syria in September and I saw the parts of Damascus that were bombed by the Netanyahu government very recently.
And
that
you would
same
cut
government.
off Hezbollah. You would cut off Hezbollah from Iranian weapons. That's in your national security
Trump
interest.
Might be trying to do that.
Doesn't require the military.
Trump may be trying to do that.
Again, I offer my telephone card, AT&T. You can use it anytime. They can make a call to Damascus.
But bringing you back here to home, when I just finished that conversation with the current Israeli ambassador to the United States, who, by the way, very much supports Israeli settlements in the West Bank, as you know, he did take a hit there at those trying to launch presidential campaigns from his country. He was speaking about Representative Ro Khanna. And what happened to him in the West Bank. But some are saying that about you too, sir. I mean, how do you respond to that? And do you agree with words like apartheid and genocide that progressive Democrats like Khanna use to talk about the current Israeli government?
Second, I was invited by Tel Aviv University. So I took it up. And I didn't just offer criticism. I offered a plan for peace. Second, I go back to working on this, not with President Clinton, on both the Oslo Accords, the Y Plantation, Camp David, and with President Obama. And third, if it comes to where you start or how you do, I haven't decided whether I was running for president, but the first thing I did was go to Mississippi, that has moved from 49th to 9th on reading scores. I have made education the core. We as a country, 50% of our kids cannot read at grade level. And we know everybody in Washington is radio silence on the future of this country. So if there's going to be a place, it wasn't the Middle East. It was actually down in Mississippi I went. That is where the future of America is. Now, one thing I know, Margaret, about the White House, you have to be good in the situation room, the boardroom, the break room, and the classroom. And the problem for both parties is one stuck in the bathroom and the other one stuck in the bedroom. Get out and focus on the future.
Ambassador, we'll leave it there. Look forward to having you back to talk more. We'll be right back.